Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something I think almost everyone has felt, that invisible enemy of chronic stress. What we just call brain fog, that awful slowness, you can't concentrate, memory just goes out the window. We are going to look at the brain a bit differently today, not just as a mind, but as a complex machine. Think of it as having hardware and software. And our mission in this deep dive is to figure out how we can give both a crucial upgrade to, well, survive a crash.
And that's really the right way to frame it. For too long, we've treated these issues, these cognitive issues from stress, as just an emotional problem, something you can just power through. But the data is so clear, the link between stress and these symptoms like forgetfulness or struggling to make a decision, it's not just a feeling, it's a real physical health concern.
It's a cognitive health crisis, really.
It is.
And that brings us to these two competing ideas we found in the sources. The old method, which we're calling survival mode, and then this new hypothesis, the preservation mode. To use a car analogy, it's the difference between just keeping the wheels on in a storm versus actually upgrading the engine and getting a better driver.
That's the perfect analogy.
Okay, so let's start with the problem itself, brain fog. When we use our computer metaphor, this isn't just the machine running a bit slow, this is a full system failure, the blue screen of death for your brain. So what does that crash actually look like, according to the research?
It's a total breakdown of your executive functions.
Yeah.
And it's hitting young adults and students, the most stressed populations, incredibly hard. The survey data is, well, it's pretty alarming. We're talking about 45.5% reporting significant forgetfulness.
Almost half.
Almost half. And then 43.6% say they have real difficulty concentrating.
Yeah.
Nearly 40% feel this deep mental exhaustion that never leaves.
And decision-making.
That's down too. 36.6% report serious trouble making even simple decisions. So this is not just being a little tired. The system is operating in the red, constantly.
So what is happening beneath the surface? I mean, is the brain just worn out?
It's more than that. It's physically compromised. The literature is very clear. Chronic stress doesn't just, make you anxious. It physically changes your brain structure.
It changes the hardware.
Exactly. High levels of stress hormones like cortisol start to damage key areas. We're talking about the hippocampus, which is vital for memory, and the prefrontal cortex, which handles all our complex decisions. That damage, that physical restructuring, is what leads directly to that mental cloudiness. The hardware is literally being eroded by stress.
Okay, so the system is crashing. Let's talk about how we've been trying to fix it. The old method, survival mode. So if our high-performance car is running on fumes in a storm, this approach just says, focus on the basics. Food, water, shelter. It's a very narrow focus, isn't it?
It is, and it has a huge, dangerous blind spot. Because when you only focus on the immediate crisis, you can completely miss that the engine is failing. Physical problems can disguise themselves perfectly as mental ones. And the case study of the 92-year-old woman is just a powerful example of this.
Right, walk us through that one, because this is where that whole hardware versus software confusion really hits home.
So she was showing all the classic signs of cognitive decline, forgetful, sometimes disoriented. And her test scores, they were really concerning. On the standard tests, the MMSE and the MoCA, her scores dropped to 24 and 23.
And just for anyone who doesn't know, what do those numbers mean? A score of 23 or 24?
It's basically the clinical tipping point. A perfect score is around 30. When you dip below 26, doctors start having serious conversations about dementia. So her medical team was looking at a permanent, irreversible software problem. They were diagnosing dementia.
That's terrifying. How often do you think this happens, where a nutritional issue gets misdiagnosed as something permanent?
It's probably more common than we think, because we have this habit of separating the mind and the body in medicine. But in her case, something remarkable happened. She moved into a long-term care facility, and her cognition it shot back up.
Just from moving?
Well, from what the move provided. Her scores went from 23 and 24 all the way back to 29 out of 30 on both tests. I mean, that's a stunning reversal. A degenerative disease just doesn't do that.
Wow, so it wasn't a deep neurological issue at all. What was this simple, shocking discovery?
It was her diet. She finally admitted that for the last couple of years, she'd been living on basically tea, toast, cookies, and potato chips.
Oh, wow.
She had what's called normal weight malnutrition. She wasn't underweight, but the hardware, her brain was failing because the fuel quality was terrible. And it looked exactly like a software bug.
The engine was seizing up from bad gas, but the mechanics were trying to debug the computer.
Yeah, precisely. And the cause of this was a societal factor. She hid her problems getting groceries because she was afraid of losing her independence. Her local supermarket closed, turning her neighborhood into a food desert. She could only get to a convenience store. So her hardware failed because the system around her failed.
That changes everything. It means we have to stop looking for quick fixes and start thinking about long-term maintenance. So let's shift to preservation mode, and let's start with that hardware upgrade, getting premium fuel for the engine.
Right. And when we talk about premium fuel for the brain, we have to talk about unsaturated fatty acids, or PUFAs, specifically one called DHA. It's the most common dietary PUFA in the brain, and we know from animal studies it dramatically improves learning and memory.
What's so fascinating is how stress doesn't just tax our brain, it actually degrades the hardware. How does stress attack the system at a molecular level?
It physically strips the brain of its building blocks. Chronic stress actually reduces the amount of DHA in your brain's cell membranes.
And DHA is like the structural material.
You can think of it that way, yeah. It keeps the cell membranes flexible and efficient so they can send signals properly. When stress reduces DHA, they get rigid and slow. But here's the good news. You can reverse it. Long-term omega-3 supplementation with both EPA and DHA, it produces these profound anti-stress effects. You're not just feeling better, you're physically reinforcing the brain. You're reversing the damage, reducing inflammation, and literally hardening the hardware against future stress.
Which just proves that the hardware needs daily maintenance, not just premium fuel. The sources you shared really highlight how much our habits can either help or hurt.
They amplify the effects dramatically. I mean, take sleep. The data is shocking. In one study, people who slept fewer than 6 hours a night were twice as likely to have chronic brain fog.
Twice as likely?
Twice. Compared to those sleeping over 7 hours, it's not a small difference. If you starve the hardware of rest, the effects of stress just multiply.
Okay, so a hardware upgrade is premium fuel like DHA and system maintenance sleep exercise. Now we have a high-performance car, but it still needs a skilled driver. Let's talk about the software upgrade, the driving skills, the coping strategies.
This is where it gets really interesting. The sources show a huge difference between coping styles. Adaptive coping things like exercise, talking to friends, finding a positive distraction, those act like powerful buffers. They help the system run smoothly and lead to much lower levels of brain fog.
And using the wrong software can make the crash even worse.
Oh, absolutely. Maladaptive coping, withdrawing from people, overeating, relying on alcohol or too much caffeine, it just pours gasoline on the fire. It makes the stress worse and leads to a huge spike in mental fatigue and poor concentration. It's the difference between a skilled driver handling a skid and a panicked driver hitting both pedals at once.
So what are the best driving instructions we can install, especially in really high-stress, low-resource places where you need something that works and scales?
For that, we can look at what the World Health Organization and the UNHCR are doing. They use frameworks like the MHG-AP-HIG to stop mental breakdowns in their tracks.
And what is that, in simple terms?
Think of it as a toolkit, a set of simple, effective stress management tools for places where therapy just isn't an option. It focuses on 3 core things: practical problem solving, actively strengthening your social support, and direct stress management, like teaching simple, controlled breathing exercises. It's a driving manual for the brain.
And the key is that this software upgrade doesn't just help you feel better.
No, it has real physical effects. This kind of psychosocial support improves both mental and physical health. It directly reduces the cognitive symptoms of brain fog. The system is all connected.
Okay, let's bring it all together. Preservation mode, the combined intervention strategy. Why is the synergy between hardware and software so important? Why can't you just do one?
Because they amplify each other. The research is completely clear on this. Studies show that a combination of a healthy diet, getting that premium fuel, and regular physical activity, which is both hardware maintenance and a software coping tool, that combination has synergistic effects on brain health. Fixing one makes it easier to fix the other.
And we have hard data on this buffering effect, right?
We do. In one study, active people, those who exercise maybe 3 or 4 times a week, showed a massive benefit. They reported 20% fewer brain fog symptoms and 15% lower stress levels compared to people who almost never exercised. Healthy habits create a powerful 2-layer shield.
So the real breakthrough here is moving past that old divided view. Preservation mode sees the brain for what it is, a biopsychosocial system. You can't just fix the hardware with good food and hope the driver learns to cope. And you can't just teach driving skills if the engine has no fuel. You need a concurrent upgrade for both. So, a quick recap of what we've pulled from this deep dive. Your brain's resilience depends on optimizing 2 things at once: the physical hardware that's good nutrition like DHA, plus maintenance like Sleep and D, the psychological software using adaptive coping skills and smart stress management.
Which brings us right back to the 92-year-old woman in the food desert. This knowledge, This combined intervention strategy, it's a universal benefit. Everyone in our high-stress world needs it. But we know that system-level problems, like not having access to good food or a job that doesn't allow for enough sleep, they prevent people from getting into this preservation mode. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. Since we know this is so critical for cognitive survival, what systemic changes do we need to make? How do we make sure this breakthrough in brain preservation isn't just a luxury for the few, but something that is truly accessible to everyone, no matter their situation?
That is the crucial question, isn't it? Moving beyond just individual choice. This deep dive was derived from insights provided by Vario1. You can find the full list of sources and more detailed research on our website. If you found this insight valuable, please give us a rating and a review. It helps us bring more science to you. Catch you in the next deep dive.